Hello and welcome to the first round pairings broadcast for the upcoming Vanguard GT coming up this weekend in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I'm your TO, Mike Adkins, and with me here to help talk about the pairings and the lists, I've got Felix Castro, Chris Fisher, and Steve Forster. Hey guys, welcome.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining me to talk some shit about all the people playing in this tournament. I appreciate it, and I'm sure they will too. So for those of you watching one of these for the first time that don't know what the deal is, we're going to go through all the first round pairings and we're going to show all the lists that are going to be played this weekend and critique them a little bit and talk a little bit about what we think might happen in each of the matchups, who we think might win. This is all for entertainment value only. Anything said about anyone's lists or chances are meant to be taken with a grain of salt. This is all tongue-in-cheek and good fun. So don't take anything personally if anybody says, they don't like your list or they don't like your chances. This is all purely for fun and to build up a little bit of hype about the event. So with that out of the way, I have just a couple of event-related announcements. It is coming up this weekend in Fredericksburg. There is one spot still open and available. So if anybody out there knows anyone who they think might like to attend and play, have them get in touch with me at to@vanguardgt.org as soon as possible, and we can drop them in. Otherwise, I'll have to either play some ringer games or find somebody to play some ringer games. And I'd much rather have someone, just round out the numbers for us. My panelists here and I are going to go through the matchups, and they're going to make some predictions on who they think is going to win. And just to make it a little interesting, whoever gets the most right will be declared the Oracle for this year and will receive this fine crafted medal. And whoever gets the least number correct will receive this lovely painted model, this lovely purple machine gun armed gorilla, which was sent to me by Greg Person after I got the most wrong for a Northeast GT a few months back. You are required to play with this model for at least one game at a GT. I played my first round of Pilgrimage with this, and then you can pass it off to whoever gets the most wrong on the next one of these things do. Just pass it around the country. So that started from which one was it? Harvest Souls, I think. I can't even remember because I just did Unplugged and it wasn't for Unplugged. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's from the Unplugged gamers, so that's a fun thing. So something that I announced earlier today that I don't know if everybody saw, in addition to asking for everyone's vaccination information before they arrive, we're also going to be COVID testing everyone when you arrive. But if you want to get COVID tested yourself before you come, anytime within 48 hours of the tournament starting, and you either send us or bring proof that you took care of the test yourself, you will be entered in a drawing, and the winner of that drawing will receive a brand new airbrush. So if you just want to streamline getting into the venue a little bit faster, you don't want to wait half an hour or so for the COVID test to happen, and you get one done either one of the kits you have yourself, or you go by a Walgreens or something and get it taken care of on like Wednesday or Thursday or Friday morning before you come. You can just let us know and we can drop you in the drawing for that, and we'll draw that either at the beginning or end of the tournament. I haven't decided which. And sometime in the next couple of days, I'm going to do another live stream video to just kind of walk around the property and show everybody the layout for folks that haven't been here before, just so everybody will feel a little oriented when they get here and they know where to go for what. So that's enough of me blabbing on. Before we get into the stuff for the actual tournament, though, I think there is an event coming up after the tournament that I'd like to mention to everybody, and that is the Richmond Open coming up the last weekend in May. There will be a one-day Kings of War tournament there, and I will be posting some more info about that after this weekend's GT. So be on the lookout for that. It's just a one-day event at a larger gaming con that's happening down in Richmond, Virginia. And then, of course, coming up in June, we have Mountaineer. Chris, could you tell us a little bit about Mountaineer?
Yeah, it's Mountaineer. It's a 2-day tournament in the middle of June, the weekend after Father's Day. I think everybody on this cast is actually going to be there. Felix, I saw you signed up a little bit ago. Nice. So that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Who else is coming from the Midwest?
Hoping to have at least Steve Malone and Eric Trowbridge. We're all looking to sign up for that one. Nice. So that's always a pretty good showing for us. So it's a nice, we all love that tournament, and so I know that's been a couple of us wanting to go that way. So.
Awesome.
Okay, Mid-Atlantic players. So for Mountaineer, we will all have to bring our A game then, because they're bringing the heat from the Midwest. It sounds like.
Well, at least the other two guys, not me.
They're bringing the heat and Felix.
And Felix.
Exactly. The Heat and Felix.
Somebody's got to compete in the sports category, right?
Yeah, there it is.
All right, so let's get on to what everybody's actually here for. Let's start talking about the matchups for this weekend's Vanguard GT. We're going to go through the matchups, and we're going to talk about the lists. But first, let's kind of take a little high-level view at what everything looks like. I did get all the lists from all 27 registered players. And there's currently a ringer list in here that we can take a look at, but we've got 18 armies represented. And as kind of a big turnaround for Pilgrimage, where the top two armies in the field were Undead and Ogres, there's only one Undead list and there are 0 Ogres. I don't know if this is like a big meta shift or anything, but the most represented army is Night Stalkers. There's 4 Night Stalker players out of 27 lists. There's 3 Sylvankin, and then also a regular Elves and a Twilightkin. So technically the most represented army is Elves. If you just take all of them together, there's 5 Elf armies, and then 4 Night Stalkers, and then 3 Ratkin. And then just one or two of everything else. In terms of drops and unit strength, the average drops is 12. There's an 11 drop list, which is very elite, and a 16 drop list. So we don't have a whole lot of really high drop lists. And kind of the same thing on unit strength. The average is coming in at 22, with a low bar there of 19 and a high bar there of 30. But since the average is low, you can tell that like most people are in that like 19 to 24-ish kind of range for unit strength. So fairly elite, which I guess is kind of typical for the Mid-Atlantic. But it is kind of surprising that like all of the Ogres went away and most of the Undead went away, and now there's lots of Elves. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm really surprised to see the lack of Ogres. Honestly, I think Ogres are a top tier army. Yeah, that's. I mean, Mike Zettelmeyer's not coming. Correct.
No, he can't make it.
Yeah, he was he won Pilgrimage with his very different kind of ogre trash list. But some of the other lists, like with that are just like Big Deal and Warlocks and Siege Breakers, I would expect to see 1 or 2 of those types of lists because they're very solid. They play every scenario very well. They have very few kind of bad matchups. So I'm really surprised to see that. But I think this kind of returned to the meta that we kind of experienced at the beginning with Dead of Winter, where we had Glade Stalkers take the top 3 or top 2 or whatever. So I think this is more indicative of a Mid-Atlantic kind of field. So we'll see. It'll be pretty interesting.
All right. Any other thoughts for you guys, or should we go on to the first round matchup?
No, I mean, it's really what Steve was saying. It seems to be more knowing that, Zettelmeyer's not in this one. It's going to be those elf shooting lists that kind of, prior to 3rd edition coming out, kind of seem to, I wouldn't say dominate, but kind of be more prevalent within the Mid-Atlantic region from my outside perspective. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like back in second ed we had a kind of a elf heavy or elf dominated meta, and then got a brief reprieve when the shooting got nerfed, but now they're back.
Right, it was always like the Southeast was the most amount of shooting, and then Mid-Atlantic was like right behind it. The most amount of shooting metas. So
right, and since we weren't first, we complained about it. Clearly, it's a problem.
Very problem.
The amount that we do is perfectly fine. A little bit more than us, that's right.
That's right.
That's a problem. All right, cool. Any other thoughts, or shall we check out table 1?
Let's do it.
All right. But first, let me remind you guys what we're actually playing. Round 1, the scenario is going to be Smoke and Mirrors. So that's going to be one of the bluff token ones. I like to open with the hard ones and then get progressively easier with the scenarios over the course of the day, as people get progressively drunk.
Yeah, but it started off sober with Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. So like
post lunch, screw somebody.
Everyone can start
somebody
drinking.
Smoke and Mirrors round 3 when they're already
no,
when they're already shit housed.
That is cruel.
Oh yeah.
I would not do that to anyone. And so this is what the terrain map is going to be. And I'll remind everybody that for this tournament, those yellow square fields are height 2, not height 1. The pond is flat, and everything else is the height you would expect them to be, height 9, other things at height 3, hills. So there's a lot of shooting, but there's also lots of places that will break line of sight to shooting infantry. So that's what people are going to be playing. A scenario where like some speed and mobility and a lot of small scoring units come in handy, as you don't really know exactly which objectives you are going to want to play for at the very beginning. You'll have to wait a few turns to find out where the actual scoring tokens are. So I think it favors slightly faster armies with slightly more drops. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So let's go on to Table 1. Table 1 is one of our challenges. It was a kind of a lackadaisical challenge, but it is a challenge nonetheless. And that's going to be Joey Greek versus Devlin Smith. Devlin coming to visit us from the Southeast region. So in terms of clubs, this is going to be a Mid-Atlantic Irregulars versus Blue City Brawlers match. Joey is going to be playing Ratkin, and Devlin's going to be playing Empire Dust. They're both 13-drop lists. Devlin has 1 more unit strength. This is a list I think Joey's been playing for a bit. He's got the Smoke Mirrors and Death formation. He's got like all of the Living Legend characters, Tangle, Mother Kryza, and however you pronounce the Demon Spawn's name. Skudzidaluk, whatever. Yeah. And then over on Devlin's side, he's got the Monolith and the Soul Snare like you would expect to see. And he has a Paphos, but he's missing 1. He didn't take the full set. I didn't know you could do that. But he does have...
He's not taking Shobek.
He's not taking Shobek. Interesting. But he does have 4 regiments of Scavengers, which I think can come in really handy, potentially in a scenario
play. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the highlight of the list. What do you guys think?
Joey did play a very similar list, if not the identical list at Pilgrimage, and did
pretty close.
Fairly well. Yeah. I know he's furiously painting right now because he wanted to do an all Mantic Ratkin army, but yeah, it's sneaky, like survivable. I mean, you see how Ratkin has changed from 2nd to 3rd edition, where it's only 13 drops and 19 unit strength, whereas Ratkin used to be 18 drops and 30 unit strength. But the Devlin's got some pretty... He's not as survivable as a lot of Empire Dust lists can be. I'm just thinking of like Eric Schaefer's type of list where you just grinds forever. Well, I think Joey has a little bit of an edge just from the shooting aspect of it.
All right.
That's and he's also my club, so I'm going to go with Joey.
All right.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things too. I mean, that's usually the scrying gem's kind of like a meh, but with both being evenly matched in drops, that might actually come in heavy, depending on what he rolls on how many drops Devlin has to drop before he does. So, especially in between that and then the Smoke Mirrors and Death formation, Joey can kind of put whatever he wants wherever he wants, without Devlin having a really good counter to that, besides just hoping to survive. So
you're going with Joey?
Yes, well, because as a fellow Blue City Brawler, I have to say, Devlin, head towards the middle tables after round 1. So.
All right, Chris, what do you think?
Well, it's really neat. What Steve was just saying about like Joey having the lowest unit strength with Ratkin, lowest unit strength at the whole event. The Ammonite Pharaoh, he's got that Sacred Horn. Is that because of the Veil of Shadows? So he's going to cast Veil of Shadows on himself and then boost the stealthy.
I think it has to do with the elite mummies.
Yeah, so he gets it'll be a 9-inch stealthy bubble and a 9-inch Elite aura for the mummies.
Doing both. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know too much about Empire of Dusk or Ratkin, honestly, but I'm definitely gonna pick Devlin for this because Joey was he was a mercenary. He was the first mercenary we contacted for our club, and that mofo left in the middle of the night. Didn't even tell us he was joining another club. So screw him. This is
I dig
Jake
pettiness votes.
Yeah, Jake was able to use his old lore to bring him to our side.
Right, so I'm putting Chris down
not even a see you later.
Sounds about right.
All right, so that is 2 votes for Joey and 1 vote for Devlin. That's good. I love seeing no clean sweeps. That's like my only goal is no clean sweeps. I'm not going to make any calls because I don't want to participate because I don't want to keep this thing. So we'll just keep on rolling. So on to table 2. This is another challenge. This one was like the creepiest challenge video ever, and I remember talking to Jake about that video like 3 years ago. Like we were talking about potentially like funny, creepy challenges, and I was like, you should totally do like the Silence of the Lambs thing. And he was like, that's a good idea. And then like 2 years went by, and I thought he'd forgotten about it. And then I saw the video. I was like, oh, he finally did it. That's amazing. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, consider yourself lucky. Don't go looking.
Don't look
better off. Just leave it. Yeah. So this is another Mid-Atlantic Irregular versus Blue City Brawler matchup. Jake is playing Undead. He's the only Undead player at the event, and Dan is playing Ratkin. This is 12 drops to 14 drops and 21 unit strength to 19 unit strength. Once again, a Ratkin list with the lower unit strength, which seems kind of weird. This list is very similar to the list that Jake won Crossroads with the triple mummy regiments and the Vamp Lord. List. Yeah. And the Flying Pharaoh, it's a solid list. It kind of caught people by surprise, I think, at Crossroads, because you don't usually see mummy regiments in the wet undead. Usually only in the dry undead. And then over on the Ratkin side, we got that Smoke Mirrors and Death formation again, and the Tangle and the Demon Spawn again, and a couple of Shot Troop hordes and a couple of Claw Shots. Similar to Joey's list, there's some themes in the Ratkin list that we can see. But let's start with Chris this time, since you went last time.
Okay. I'm going to continue with the pettiness against this irregular crew. Jake won Crossroads. Okay, everybody knows that there's an asterisk on the end of that. That never should have happened. How did Jake win an event? We're all lost on it. So, but man, that video was pretty awesome. I'm still going to go with Dan Kamak here, just because I kind of actually like Joey's list, and I like Dan's list as well. I just couldn't pick Joey earlier, so I'm going to continue with the pettiness. These rats are looking pretty fun. I like that formation, and I like Scutch Luck, so we're good.
All right, cool. Felix.
Let's see. With this one, and being it is round 1 of the tournament, Dan has about a 50% chance of still being sober enough to play Kings of War, so I'm gonna give it to him on this one.
Okay, I will throw this out to see if this changes how anybody thinks. Last Vanguard GT, Jake talked Tim Smith into staying up till like 2-3 in the morning on Friday night and playing their first round challenge then. And when I woke up and went downstairs in the morning, I saw their scorecards there laid out and filled out. And they had played at some point overnight. And like Larry Essick was asleep on the couch, and I was like, did they actually play? And he was like, oh yeah, I saw them. So it's possible that Jake will try to talk Dan into doing that again. And so they might be playing at like 3 or 4 in the morning on Friday, and they might both be completely shit-faced, if that changes anyone's thoughts.
I don't know. Like I said, I still want to go for my boy Dan, just because of I think he just might be. They might both be drunk, but I think Dan would just beat Jake with experience at being drunk while playing at that point. So
nice. All right, Steve, what do you think?
This is I've seen Dan play this list on UB, and then the shock reports are this. I like Dan's list a lot better than I like Joey's list. It has a little bit more shooting with the claw shots, got a little bit more chap with the Vermintide regiments, got that being said, I think Jake has the those mummies are really tough to crack, and there's 3 of them. It's tough. I'm gonna be the homer and go with Jake.
All right, that's fine. Keeps it from being a clean sweep for Dan. So that is 2 for Dan and 1 for Jake. And that is table 2. Moving on to table. Moving on to table 3. So this is another challenge. This is Alex Chavez versus Marcelo, and this is going to be a Aristocrats versus Battle Pilgrims matchup. Coming in with the same number of drops, but a big delta in unit strength there. 23 for Alex, and 30 rather for Marcelo. Marcelo is the high watermark for unit strength here. Yeah, two legions of Villain Penitents. You don't see that every day. 3 Order of Bissell Hunt regiments. Those are pretty nasty. But this is kind of a rematch, I think, from a game they played at Pilgrimage. I think Alex won that one, and I think they're playing pretty similar lists here. So yeah, and then over on Alex's side, Soul Flayers are super popular among Night Stalker players right now. And so is Shakira, super popular. And then the rest of it is kind of the stuff you expect to see, Butchers, Shadowhawks, Avoid Lurker, and some Scarecrows for cheap unlocks and some unit strength to set on objectives. So what do we think? Let's. I think I haven't started with Felix yet, so let's start with Felix this time.
Yeah, this is a tough one to kind of go with in terms of, you have kind of one of the premier, like he would say, has-beens of Kings of War in Alex Chavez.
He is a premier has-been.
But Marcelo just has so much unit strength. It's just going to be a matter of, can Alex peel off that unit strength and make it matter in terms of the scenario? So, as much as I love Marcelo, I'm going to have to go with Alex on this one.
That's fair. We did have a game night at Mike Austin's house a few weeks ago, and I did get to watch Alex and Mike Zettelmeyer play, and Zettelmeyer played his 9x9 ogres, and Alex actually managed to squeak out a win against it, so he can definitely go up against a tough opponent with this list. Steve, what do you think?
I've been, since Pilgrimage, I've actually been playing Dust Up my Night Stalkers and repainting them and playing a bunch on UB. This list is, I know it's a little different from what I play. I play a little bit more shooting. Alex has the Shadowhawks. This is a very much a Mid-Atlantic meta list that Alex is going up against, but Marcelo's list, I think, has changed since Pilgrimage, because I don't think he had the Penitence Legions.
I don't think he had Legions now.
Yeah, and I think there's just a lot of, I don't know how Alex is going to chew through a lot of that unit strength.
It's a lot of nerve to chew through.
It's a lot of nerve to get through. That being said, I'm actually going to go with Marcelo.
All right. Steve goes for Marcelo. Chris, what do you think?
I like Alex's list a bit more, and I played it. He didn't have S&S, but I was playing him the other day on UB, and I like his list. I like the way he uses it, and he knows how to use it. As far as cutting through the unit strength, I mean, speed 6, he's going to be up in the combat, turn 2 or 3. He probably could with everything he's got here, the Butchers, the Fiends, even Soul Flayers, and the Shadowhawks are going to go nuts. I hate to do it, but I want to pick Alex for this just because I think he is pretty good, but had a good place with this list. Oh, but it hurts. I don't want to.
That's okay. You don't have to say it. You can just wink at me and I'll put you down for it. No shame in voting for aristocrats. It's like the safe bet. All right, so that is 2 for Alex and 1 for Marcelo. We're keeping our average of no clean sweeps. Love to see that. On to table 4. So this is our first first round challenge match. There's one more challenge, but it's on a lower table because I try to put people on tables, that closely match the army that the challenge E is, so they can be like defending their home table for the first round for fun. So we got Sean Mccormley versus JJ Jones. So this is an Aristocrats versus Blue City Brawlers matchup, and it is one of our Sylvankin versus, again, Brother Mark. It's the other Brother Mark list. Sean's list is a little on the elite side with 13 drops and 22 unit strength, and JJ's got a slightly over average 15 drops, coming at 21 unit strength. Yeah, we're going to see some Glade Stalkers in lists coming up. So this one is going to look, reserved by comparison, with only 2 regiments of Glade Stalkers.
Those are rookie numbers, Sean. Yeah, pump those numbers up.
Yeah, to pump those numbers up. But he does have the Wardens of the Sacred Grove formation that he's trying out. Sean's an old Wood Elf player, so he likes playing with a lot of different stuff other than just the standard meta. He likes pulling stuff out. But he does have the Willed Father. So there's that. Over on JJ's side, he's got 2 hordes of those Paladin Monster Slayers, which are pretty nasty. 2 regiments over the Abyssal Hunt for some nice punch there. Kind of a lot of individuals. He's got High Chaplain Augustus. He's got a couple of chaplains. He's got an Exemplar Hunter with wings. Some Villain Skirmisher troops for some chaff, and some penitents for some unlocks and some cheap unit strength. So I think we're back around to Steve to get started. What do you think?
Felix is ahead of me. He's looking up what lead from the front is, and because I don't know what any of this shit is.
I think it means he can't be on a horse.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The Monster Slayer horde stuff, actually. So
yeah, the Monster Slayer hordes are
those are pretty tough. Nasty.
Those are those
money.
Suck. And they're going to be like 24, 26 with all the rally you have. That being said, I'm actually going to go with Sean. I think he's much more mobile, and this is a game for the movement phase. You win in the movement phase, and I haven't seen Sean in 2 years, and I miss him, so I'm going to go with Sean.
All right.
That's fair.
Yeah. What do you think, Felix?
I mean, I was gonna really go for Sean until Steve was saying he hadn't really played a whole lot. It makes it tough because a lot has changed with the release of Clash of Kings 22. So, even with that, though, I'll still have to probably give it to my boy Sean because, that's a pretty nasty list. And if it's even somewhat close to what he was playing prior to Clash 22, he should be fine.
So. All right. What do you think, Chris?
I like JJ's list. I really like 2 hordes of those Monster Slayers.
Those are really good.
Yeah, it's just a great unit, and then he's still got room for 2 regiments of the Abyssal Hunt. Exemplar Hunter with wings, a lone wolf, the Gauntlet. That guy's going to be a little bit fun. He might be able to even hunt down this Elven King. That could be some cool stuff. I'm going with JJ. I think his list is really fun.
Cool. I like it. No clean sweeps continues. I will also point out that JJ just recently posted in the Mid-Atlantic group that he's looking to see if anybody wants to play a tabletop RPG one-shot on Saturday night this coming weekend. He posted a few options of different things, so if anybody's interested in playing a slightly different kind of game and rolling some slightly differently shaped dice on Saturday evening, go find that post in the Mid-Atlantic Facebook group and comment on which one of the couple of 3 different options he threw out there is which one you might like to do, and we'll find a table for you guys somewhere in the house Saturday evening, possibly quiet enough to be able to hear each other over everybody else drinking and yelling and playing board games. But we will see how that goes. Just maybe. So let's move on to table 5. Ed Fisk versus Jason Britt. So this is a Mid-Atlantic Irregular versus Carolina Reapers match. Jason Britt lives down in Charlotte, so it's great to see him making his way up here. He used to live in the Southeast and relocated to the Mid-Atlantic kind of just before the pandemic got started. So it's nice to see him making it up to some events here. So this is a League of Rortia versus Sylvan-Kin, another Sylvan-Kin matchup. You got 15 drops on the Rortia side at 20 unit strength versus 14 drops and 23 unit strength on the Sylvan-Kin side. Ed is still sporting those 4 hordes of Honor Guard, triple cannons, double mounted barons, double peg wizards in the Battle Shrine, and a foot guard horde, which is just really, really solid and really hard hitting for a League of Rortia list. And then over on Jason's side, this is a pretty sneaky list. I actually kind of like what he's done here. He's got 4 Gladestalker regiments, which will put everybody on a clock. Like, that is a lot of shots to throw out. And he's got an Air Elemental Horde, some Gur Panthers, Stormwind Cav, so 3 Greater Air Elementals, a Master Hunter, an Elven Archmage, and Nimue Way Dancer. So this is a list that, like, will shoot the hell out of you while it's, like, surrounding you and getting weird angles on you with some pretty nasty stuff. Who did I start with last time? I think I'm back around to asking Felix first. So,
alrighty. Wow, this is a tough one. You're right about the Sylvan-Kin because Eric Trowbridge has been playing a lot of Forces of Nature lately, and those triple air elementals will destroy you if you're not careful. And if you are careful, I mean, they got their bump up in Clash of Kings 22, so they're like, 10 attacks hitting on 3s with Crush 1, Thunder 1. Like, that is sneaky. Yeah. You don't get flanked by those guys. Yeah, and then the Gladestalkers, again, put you on a clock. But yeah, I mean, Ed Fisk has just been playing that 4 Honor Guard Horde League of Rortia since I remember seeing him back at Best of the Rest back in 2020. So he's got definitely a lot of experience with that one. I think I might have to go with Jason Britt on this one, though, just because there's that X factor of, surgible hordes and graders that, if you're not careful, can catch you out. So
yeah. I think this might be, in my opinion, this might be one of the most interesting first round matches to watch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think?
I like Jason's list quite a bit. It looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be shooting and flying around you, getting away. Like the Elf Gladestalker lists do really well with because they have the Dracon hordes, and this one it's not so much like playing keep away as you're just getting surrounded. Ed has been playing this list for a while, and he's good. And I think he beat Beaner's Sylvan-Kin at Pilgrimage, didn't he? First round.
T.O. of Pilgrimage chiming in here.
Yeah.
So he can do it. Like,
it could happen.
Turn, yeah. Probably this one is a little bit trickier because of all the elementals. Like, he can't rush completely in as much. Because then he's just going to end up maybe getting surged into flanks and rears and things. The air elementals, the greater ones, they can shoot, but they're also pretty good in hand to hand. But it's a tough call. In the end, I'm going with Jason because I got some angst here toward Ed's club.
All right, Steve.
Fair.
Unsurprisingly, I'm going to go for Ed. Ed and I actually just played a game yesterday. This list it's very good. I mean, he has the 15 lightning bolt in addition to having 3 cannons, so you got enough. And he's the way that Ed plays, you're going to get charged turn 2, and maybe even turn 1. And the Honor Guard with the backed up by the Battle Shrine are 1820, so they're going to be able to stick around. They've got the Indomitable Will, which is the best 10 points you can end Kings of War. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Ed.
All right. All right, so that is 2 for Jason and 1 for Ed. Once again, we've gotten this far without having a clean sweep. Super happy to see that. So let's move on to table 6. You guys are gonna love this one. So let's move on to. So this is Michelle Jones versus Mike Austin. This is elf on elf violence, y'all. This is exactly what we want to see here. Eventually, they will all eat each other. So this is a Blue City Brawler versus Aristocrats match. Sylvan Ken versus Elves, 13 drops versus 12 drops, 23 unit strength versus 21. And Michelle is bringing 7 regiments of Glade Stalkers. There should be an award just for that. Like, I don't know what to call that.
You still have time to print something, I think.
Like, this is going to be so on one side you got 7 regiments of Glade Stalkers and a Wolf Father and a Tree Herder, and on the other side you've got 2 hordes of Palace Guards, Drakon Riders, 2 Lords on Drakons, and a horde of Sea Guards. So there's like 3 hordes on the other, 4 Glade Stalkers troops, which still have like 10 shots each. So that's still 40 shots from Glade Stalkers versus however many the Sea Guard have.
25.
Yeah. So this again, like this will be a very interesting one to watch to see what happens. Because a Sea Guard horde with hammered measured force might not mind if the Wolf Father steps to it. So like, I don't know. Chris, what do you think?
I think it's hilarious. But I'm going to choose Michelle because.
Right.
I mean,
tell us you're from the Southeast without telling us you're from the Southeast, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those Master Hunters are going to be really fun too. Is Banner Ravage? That's spell word.
That's a spell word.
Yeah, spell word and stealthy all over her list, basically. Yeah, this is cool. And Mike Austin here trying to like make his own name in Glade Stalkers with troops. What is he doing here? He's a couple years late. When was the last time he played anyway? I'm definitely going to
I think that was a 2019 Mountaineer. The last time.
Yeah, I mean, he has games days at his house, but those are games days with his Aristocats. So
it's true. It's true. All right, Steve, what do you think?
Oh man, that's a lot of defense over there for Mr. Austin. I mean, I like the Palace Guard. I like the Sea Guard horde. And he does have the 2 Lords on Drakon, the King's Champion, which I think is speed 7, the Drakon Rider. So you can go out and like shut down some of that. But oh man, I think first turn is going to be huge, and Mike's shooting is going to be not as effective because the Sylvan Glade Stalkers have stealthy, right?
Yeah,
I think that's stealthy. So
that's what I was saying, stealthy, and then he's got the Banner Ravage Shire.
And that's irrelevant. Oh man.
Yes, they do have Skybound.
I'm going to go with Michelle as well, just because I think the elf on elf shooting just has she has the advantage because she's rocking regiments and her shit's stealthy. And Mike's army is all defense 4 and 3.
Mm-hmm. All right, what do you think, Felix?
I mean, first thing I got to ask is, Michelle, are you okay at home? Because what has JJ been doing to you that you need to take 7 Glade Stalker regiments? I mean, just let me know if things are okay at home.
Blink twice if everything's okay.
Exactly. That is, yikes. I mean, like someone commented, I thought they were bringing a lot of shooting. They were apparently wrong. Man, I mean, despite all that, I mean, it was Chris and Steve for Mike, right? Or for Michelle, right?
For Michelle, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I despite all what she's bringing shooting to the table, I just think Mike has this like hatred towards humanity as a whole that is not to be discounted for, and I think he's just going to not care somehow, and just through sheer force of hatred towards everything, manage to pull out this victory. So I'm going to go for Mike on this one.
All right. It's never a mistake to vote for an aristocrat. Blame Jeff. Yeah.
That's
I'll
give you that. Yeah.
We will. All right, moving on to table 7. Jason Mazzone versus Ray Shields. This is our only Twilight kin, or our 5th elf list, depending on how you want to count them. Versus Trident Realm. Ray's going to make it down from Canada, from the Great White North, to come see us. So we're really excited to see him. These are 2 kind of lower drop, 12 drops for the Twilight kin, and 13 drops for Trident Realm, but both with respectable 20 and 22 unit strength. Over on the Twilight kin side, there's just the one Gladestalker regiment. This is not a super heavy shooting Twilight kin list. He's got a Butcher Horde, he's got the Missile Horseman, he's got a Shadow Hulk and an Archfiend, and then he's got Summoner Crone with Hosat, Shadow Beast 10, Mikael, and Lathiel. So we know what's going to happen here. And then over on the Trident Realm side, Ray's got the triple Heart Piercer regiments, like you see an awful lot, a couple of Knuckers, Ector, and the Hidden Ones, which is a really good formation.
It's a really good formation.
Thule are pretty nasty. And I would say, like, against any other elf list at the tournament, Ray would be in a lot of trouble, but this might be like the only elf matchup he actually wants to see. You know. But what do you guys think? Who are we around to? Is it Steve's turn to go first?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Ray, I've actually played Ray's list. He's getting a lot of reps in preparation. And like Mike just said, this is the one elf list that I think Ray is fairly happy to see, because he actually outshoots him. Those Heart Piercers are going to do some damage to a lot of, I mean, outside of the Abyssal Horsemen and the Butchers. I mean, there's the most of Jason's list is defense 4 and 3. He's got a little bit of the speed advantage. And he has the Trickster's Wand and one of the Centurions to cut for some hex to maybe shut down some Summoner Crone, Mikael, Shadow Beast nonsense. That being said, I really like Jason's list, but I'm going to have to give it to Ray.
All right. I don't think I said this is an Aristocrats versus 7th Circle match. And Steve is going with Ray. All right, what do you think, Felix?
Wow. Yeah, my initial thought was to go with Ray, but that Night Stalker, that Twilight Kin list is just with Mikael and Lathiel. If Ray's not careful, Mikael is just going to make mincemeat of a couple of those hordes. Hell, even the Hidden Ones regiment, if he's able to get the first charge. This is a tough one because I love my boy Ray, but let's just say for chaos' sake, I'm gonna go with Jason. He's got a pretty good list, and I'd like to see this one.
He is a really good player. He's a really, really good player.
That's another thing of Jason's. Both are great players.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think?
I think I'm going to choose Jason because I've reached my Aristocrat level. But it's going to be so great to see Ray after. I think last time was it's going to be great to see Ray. And so I do feel bad. He's probably my favorite Aristocrat. Sorry, Mike.
It's okay.
But I'm going to go with Jason a little bit. He, unlike Joey Greek, he did not, forsake his word and abandon us for another gang. He's sticking with us. And I think he's been playing, these type of Twilight Kin lists for a while.
Yeah.
Editions. Yeah. I know, you mentioned about the Sylvan Kin and Sean. I always got the impression that Jason played Dark Elves back in Warhammer days.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of older models. Yeah. So I don't feel bad choosing him over Ray. I feel pretty good about it. So that's my call.
All right. So that is 2 for Jason and 1 for Ray. And now we move on to the back half. We have 14 tables, so this is our halfway point, and we're only 45 minutes in, man. We are humming along. All right, so let's go to table 8. This is our last first round challenge. This is Bill Goodrick versus Michael Ireland. So this is going to be a 7th Circle versus Battle Pilgrims matchup. Bill's side is Hurd with 13 drops and 21 unit strength, and Mike Ireland is playing as Ratkin at 14 drops and 21. Bill has the Silent Hunters, or the Silent Hunt formation with the Tribal Trappers that hurt you if you come into rain to fight them, and the Wolf Father, which is kind of good, and a bunch of Lycans and the Stampede. It's a pretty fun list to play against. I feel like I played him with this list a couple of times. And then over on Mike's side, he's got those triple hordes of shock troops, which are tough to get through, and some weapons teams and some claw shots. And then again, the very popular Living Legend options for Ratkin, Tangle, Mother Kryza, and the Demon Spawn. And I've lost track of who I'm starting with. So, Felix, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just looking up the Silent Hunt. I had
He's got to look up what the Silent Hunt does.
Yeah, basically, I've played against Ratkin recently. It's like the Herd. I'm like, let me see. Having known what they do now, that is. Our Stampede with the Brew Sharpness. That's some old school,
Stampede's hitting on 2s.
Edition 2 stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Man. It's one of those, that is going to punch a lot of stuff, but that is a lot of nerve with those.
How much does Stampede rely on Thunderous Charge?
Crush 1 Thunder 3 or something like that.
It's a Minotaur Chariot upgrade, so I think it's Crush 1 Thunder 2. But giving it the Brewish Sharpness makes it hit on 2s, so it'd be hitting on 3. It's pretty much 3s and 3s. But Bill also has Bane Chant.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that is just a lot of nerve to chew through. Dang. I'm gonna go with Bill on this one, just because I like the Herd. That's just kind of, and I like Bill. This is no other reasons than that. I'll just go off of that. Call it my feminine intuition.
Fair enough. What do you think, Chris?
So I've been talking to Bill, and it's a problem a little bit. He's got so much reliance on Thunder Charge, and you've got all these shock troops with Phalanx. That is tough. I don't know but they are only defense 4 right now, aren't they? Shock troops. So it's not. I guess it's not that terrible of a thing. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Bill because he's very familiar with this Herd list. He's been playing. I think this is his all Mantic Herd list.
I think so. Yeah.
It's
I'm not sure.
But
not sure. Okay, so you're going with Bill.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. No problem. Steve, what do you think?
I really like this Ratkin list. It's got a ton of shots. I mean, 3 weapon team, 3 claw shots, and Herd's not known for a lot of defense. And getting through 3 phalanx hordes that can pop plague pot. So there could be turns where Bill's stuff's hitting, that Stampede's hitting on 4s because it has spur sharpness. But I'm gonna go with Michael. I like Michael's list a lot.
All right. Yeah, I think I played Mike at Crossroads. It was a similar triple shock troop horde list. It is a tough list to chew through. All right, that'll be a fun matchup. So that is 2 for Bill and 1 for Mike. So we are continuing our trend of not having any clean sweeps. And let us move on to table 9. This is Ray Wyant versus Robert Brandon. So this is a 7th Circle versus Aristocrat matchup. And over on Ray's side, he's playing Forces of the Abyss. So he switched back from Undead to Forces of the Abyss. And Robert is bringing Night Stalkers, another of our 4 Night Stalker lists. These are both very low drop lists, both at 12 drops, with Ray's list coming at 21 unit strength and Robert's coming in at 22. Over on Ray's side, it's an interesting interesting list. 2 Flame Bearer regiments, a couple of Hellhound regiments, which I think is kind of interesting. Bazuzu, the Manifestation of Baal, an Archfiend, a Lower Abyssal Horde with Sacrificial Imp. It's kind of an interesting. I haven't seen a lot of Abyssal lists in a while that looked kind of like this, so it's kind of cool. I'll be interested to see what Ray does with it. And then over on Robert's side, he's got a lot of the stuff that you see in the other Night Stalker list here, except he doesn't have Shakira, but he does have that Bloodworm Legion, some Butcher Hordes, some Mind Screeches, a Planar Apparition, Soul Flayers, again, really, really popular. Same thing with Shadow Hulks, except he's got a Banshee instead of Shakira.
The band.
So what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, but I think what you said about Ray's list is pretty true. I mean, that's unusual. 2 regiments of Hellhounds. That's nifty. The Seductress with the Gnome Glass Shield is funny. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Petty. I just wanted to comment that his list is really interesting. I'm gonna stick with Ray because of those reasons. Bale was really cool, and Basusa was really cool. So I think he's got some cool tools as well. There's my vote. Sorry.
All right, Steve.
Robert's list is that's stout, I'll say, because the Bloodborne Legion is, I think, 25, 28 nerve and has 40 attacks, and I think Life Leech 2. Butcher Hordes are tough. You got Shadow Hulks. I mean, all this is a lot of nerve.
Yeah.
The Banshee
and the Planar behind it.
Yeah, the Planar Apparition,
Healing
Kill 7 behind it. Ray's going to have a lot of difficulty chewing through the top 3, the Bloodworms and the Butcher Hordes, and then even the Shadow Hulks. I mean, they're dash 20 nerve, defense 5. The Banshee I really like. It's expensive. I mean, it's 190 points, but it could double cast Wind Blast 8 on 2 different units, and they do damage. So I really I think that's really cool. It pains me to do it because I love Forces of the Abyss. I love Ray, but I'm going to go with Robert.
All right. Felix, what do you think?
I mean, at first glance, I was like, is this even Ray Wyant? Has he been kidnapped? There's not 8 billion zombies in this list. Man, I don't know, because Robert Brandon has. I mean, I guess the Amber Alert was successful in finding him again, because I hadn't seen or heard from him in forever. Man, it's almost just a coin flip right now, because I love me some Ray Wyant, but man, you're just straying away from your zombie roots. I mean, you were the chosen one when it came to zombies. So I just got to go with Brandon on that one, just to be, to go along with Chris's, being petty for the night. That'd be my pettiness. So
there you go. All right. I love a combo petty vote and vote for an aristocrat layered on top of each other. So that is 2 for Robert.
You're welcome.
And one for Ray. Bring the zombies back, Ray. That's what we're saying. So table 10 is going to be Charles Fiduct versus Cat Royer. So this is going to be a Spotsylvania area gamers versus Battle Pilgrims matchup. Chuck is bringing his Basileans, brand spanking new Basilean army that he just 3D printed most of it, possibly all of it, at least most of it, and just finished painting it this week. And Kat is bringing her salamanders. Charles, I think his list is our low watermark for drops at 11. Do I have a lot of typos? My bad. I typed these all very fast. Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, this is 11 drops of 25 unit strength on the Basilean side, 30 drops and 20 unit strength over on the Salamander side. So this is a low high heavy Basilean list with both Samacris and Julius, along with some knights and a Panther Chariot regiment, and then over on Cat's side. You're right, Rob. Yeah, there are some Song of Ice and Fire minis in Chuck's army, so it's a combo Song of Ice and Fire and 3D printed stuff. Over there, she's got Cat's got double Tyrant Hordes Rhinosaur Cav Horde, some Ember Sprites regiments for some chaff, a couple Greater Fire Elementals, Artackle, and Rakawas standing out to me. So what do we think? Who do I start with first? Felix, I think it's your turn.
Sure. I don't know Charles, but I know Kat, and she's my round 2 loss at Adepticon drinking buddy, so I'm going to have to go with her on that one. So.
Fantastic. Love the drinking buddy rationale. Steve.
I really like Kat's list. The 2 Greater Fire Elementals that are giving the wild charge to the Tyrants. So the Tyrants have up to a 16-inch charge. I love the Banner of Aperture on the Rhinosaur Captain. I really like Kat's list. And Charles, he does have the speed aspect with Julius and the Elohi that can, kind of chaff some, that can get their first charge in. But Kat has the Ember Sprites, the screen so she can deliver the Rhinosaurs and the Tyrants. So I'm going to go with Kat as well.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful army.
It is.
I know Charles is a very good painter, but I know Kat's army is gorgeous. So,
yeah. Chris, what do you think?
I think Chuck's army looks pretty cool. He's got all those Elohi are going to be pretty neat. He's actually got kind of like a lot of meat in the Men-at-Arms and the foot guard that you don't really think about because you're going to have the Elohi in your face so quickly, and Julius. And
it is a lot of unit strength for 11 drops.
Yeah, that really catches you off guard. No individuals. Yeah, I like both of those, and I've seen Kat's army. It's beautiful. I'm looking forward to seeing what Chuck comes up with these Basileans because evidently it was like a really quick project too. He only started this like a month ago.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna choose him because I just dig all the angels.
Yeah, I would say Celestial Fury. That's if he can get the drop on a lot of those things. That's crushing 2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So that gives us 2 for Kat and 1 for Chuck. And let's move on to table 11, coming down to the last few tables here. So this is Brian Swinson versus Kelly Wheaton. If these seem like unfamiliar names, Brian is coming up from North Carolina, and Kelly Wheaton is a brand new player. Lives in the Northern Virginia area. He told me he played Warhammer Fantasy for like 20 years, and had recently gotten tired of playing either Ninth Age or Age of Sigmar. I forget which one he said he had been playing, but he wanted to check out Kings of War, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll just show up for a GT and see what's up." So cool.
Okay.
That's great.
I think I might know him. I think I may have been in a Warhammer Fantasy Club with him like 20 years ago, but I'm not certain. Like I think there was somebody in the club with that name, but like it was so long ago. Like I've forgotten a lot of the folks that used to play around Game Parlor in Northern Virginia back in the day. So we'll see. So anyway, so this is going to be a dwarf versus abyssal dwarf grudge match. Love to see it. Yep, 16 drops on the dwarf side, 23 unit strength to 12 drops on the abyssal dwarf side with 20 unit strength. Over on Brian's side with the dwarves, he's got that Royal Guard formation, which I think is really good for dwarf infantry. A couple of organ guns, Gallic Fury, the Mounted Berserker Lord. He's got some Berserker Brocks and some sharpshooters. Over on the abyssal dwarf side, he's got a Black Soul Horde with Aegis of the Elohai, so it'll be pretty hard to kill. Some half-breeds, some grotesques, a couple of greater golems, Overmaster on the Ancient Winged half-breed, and the rocket launcher, which you don't see very often. So I feel like this is sort of I have a bunch of old like Chaos Dwarf models, and I kind of want to use them all, kind of list, like try a little bit of everything and see what works. It's a nice like I'm new to this game, let's feel it out kind of list. And I feel like both these guys are fairly new players. I don't know how much Brian's played. But so this ought to be a fun little matchup. So what do you think, Steve? I'll just start with Steve this time because I've lost track of where I am.
Yeah, I like I really like the dwarf list. It's as you would expect, it's very stout. He's got the shooting. The Royal Guard formation is, I think, probably the second best formation that's come out in Class 22. You're back. Yeah, I'd have to look up what Fiery Bulwark does. Decimated Regiment. Yeah, I'm gonna go with regular dwarves because because I have a regular dwarf army. I don't have an abyssal dwarf army, so I'm going with regular dwarfs.
All right, Felix, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what Fiery Bulwark did do. That had to do with, I think you got.
Oh, it's the D3 Iron Resolve.
Yeah, D3 Iron Resolve. Man. You said you went with Brian on that one?
Yeah, I went with regular dwarfs.
Yeah, problem is for me, I mean, yeah, they got that Royal Guard formation, but for the most part, it's like Abyssal Dwarves just seem to outpace regular dwarves. I don't know why. I don't know who did who with Mantic, but like it just seems like Abyssal Dwarves just seem to have it better off. Gosh. Let's just say that if the dice don't go Brian's way, I'd say Kelly can pick this one up fairly easily. But again, it's a dice game, so for S&G, I'll just go with Kelly on this one. So,
all right,
good luck to the Evil Dwarves.
There we go. Chris, what do you think?
Cool. Felix, I'm glad you took Kelly because I'm gonna pick Brian. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool matchup. Awesome, and
it's a super good matchup. Yeah,
and it could flip either way. I go for Brian because I like the I guess the objective play a little bit more. I didn't realize the Stone Priest could get Radiance of Life.
Yeah,
that just applies to the dwarves.
It's Radiance of Life dwarf.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough list to shift, and unlike, like for example, Thomas's Abyssal Dwarves, what we're more used to seeing, there's not a lot of shooting with Kelly's, so it's going to have to be in hand to hand.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so that's 2 for Brian and 1 for Kelly. Yeah, I do like that the pairings randomizer gave us a couple of nice like dwarf on Abyssal Dwarf and like Sylvan Kin versus regular elves matchups, which I think is pretty cool. All right, table 12, coming down to just the last few tables. So we got Rufus Hambright versus Rob Kenzie. So this is going to be a Carolina Reaper versus a Spotsylvania Area Gamer matchup. This is going to be Night Stalkers versus Kingdoms of Men. Over on Rufus' side, he's got 14 drops and 22 unit strength, going up against Rob's 16 drops and 24 unit strength, so a little on the high side for drops. Rufus has got most of the popular choices that we've been seeing people take in Night Stalker. He's got that Bloodworms Legion. He's got some Butcher Hordes. He's got a Planer. He's got some Fiends. He's got some Soul Flayers, and he's got Shakira. And then over on Rob's side, he's got a lot of hordes with Ensnare or Phalanx or both. A little bit of shooting and some siege artillery and cannons. He's got a mammoth and a giant for some nice steady monsters, and a little bit of magic support and some knights. It's a little bit of everything. Kingdoms of Men kind of list. So I'm going to start with Chris.
Okay. Yeah, this is a cool matchup you got here too, with just the 2 players with Rufus and Robert. Rufus. I like Robert's Kingdoms of Men. I think Kingdoms of Men are pretty cool. I like the choices that he made. The Mounted Scouts troop with the orb is fun. Yeah, he's got. I mean, it's so crazy. He's got so many things going on with the mammoth, the giant. It's just so many different things. 16 drops. It's 14 different units. But just the 24 unit strength, not like the 30 that we saw with the Brother Mark earlier, or Brotherhood. They were. But yeah, I like his Kinsman. I think it's going to be looks like a lot of fun to play.
All right, cool. So you're going with Robert. Steve, what do you think?
I'm a little upset that at least one of those horrors doesn't have the Vicious Horror to plant behind those bloodworms, so they can have Vicious in addition to 40 attacks that always hit on fours. But yeah, I also like Robert's list with the I don't know, I like Kingdoms of Men. That being said, I'm going to give the edge to Rufus with Night Stalkers. There's just not a lot of. He's got the. Rufus has the can openers. I mean, the Bloodworm Legion is going to do 10 wounds to anything. The Butchers can, and the Fiends and the Soul Flayers all have some, all can do a lot of damage. And I don't know that Robert has the punch back to get through, especially the Butcher Hordes or the Bloodworm Legion. The Bloodworm Legion's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, I'm going to go with Rufus.
Okay. Felix.
Normally I'd say I give Robert the edge when it comes to artillery and stuff like that, but Night Stalkers and stealthy. Yeah, I imagine Rufus is just gonna try and engage and get in as close as quickly as possible, and so I think that'll give him the edge once the battle lines meet. So I'll give the edge to Rufus.
All right. So that's gonna be 2 for Rufus and 1 for Rob. I will say that Rob is planning on bringing out his black powder stuff on Friday evening. So if anybody wants to play some Napoleonic era historical games, he's got both the Brits and the French. You don't have to bring anything; you can just show up and probably let you run one of the brigades. It's a fun game to have 6 people standing around a table yelling at each other to move their sorry troops someplace and do something useful and that kind of thing. It's fun. It's a good time. So if anybody's interested in doing that, just come by Friday evening, and we'll get that going. Okay, so moving on to table 13, next to last table. Here we have Battle of the Mid-Atlantic TOs. So this is Chris Fisher versus Bart Kohler. This is going to be a 7th Circle versus a Battle Pilgrims matchup. Chris is bringing Varinger, and Bart is bringing his Trident Realm. That's 12 drops to 14 drops and 19 unit strength to 27 unit strength. So it's a pretty big gap in unit strength there. Over on Chris's side, he's got double Huskarls, double Night Raiders, double Mounted Suns, 3 Lords on Frostfangs, and Magnild. That is just rough and hard hitting. And then over on Bart's side, he's got 3 Giga Hordes, a couple of Knuckers, the Kraken, Depth Horror Eternals, and that Hidden Ones formation, and a couple of Placoderm regiments. So kind of an interesting matchup. Let's start with Felix. We'll do Chris last since he's playing.
That's fair. As a person who kind of slid from Northern Alliance to Varinger in the past year and a half, almost 2 years, I do like Chris's list a lot. I appreciate the meta call on putting stealthy on the Mounted Suns. I probably would have gone with brutal just because there's not as much shooting here in the Midwest. But I do really like his list. Yeah, with Bart, that's going to be a tough one just because of the Gigas. I mean, Chris going to have to use the maneuverability to get around to those flanks because Big Shield is a thing. And then, but I think he's got the can openers to be able to take care of the Placoderms and the Gigas Hordes. As long as he can kind of hold off and keep that Thule formation. Cut is a good formation. If you keep them out of contact with him until he needs to get in close with them, I put Chris for this one. So,
all right. So that's 1 vote for Chris. Steve, what do you think?
You know what doesn't give a shit about defense 6? Huskarls. And I mean Placoderms have phalanx, but the Gigas don't. Mounted Suns are going to go into them. Yeah, I know what Bart's trying to do, and it's just Chris has the answers that deal with those things that Bart's trying to do. I I really do want to give it to Bart, but I'm gonna go with Chris.
All right. So now we come to Chris. So far, the other two panelists have voted for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not trying to like maintain our, our record. Just this is totally going to Bart. I have not played this list. This is Bill's army. I don't have an army. I made this list literally right before I sent it to you. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to play it. Like Bart said, he's really glad I spent so much on all that stealthy. I've got stealthy all over this list. The Mountain Suns have stealthy. The Lord has a stealthy aura. There's lots of stealthy for all of Bart's shooting there. And we played a game. My first game with Bart was at Vanguard a couple years ago, when I was so hungover that I asked you, Mike, like if there's anybody who doesn't want to play, like just drop me. I'm done. Like I can't do it. And I had to do it. And I played, and my first game was against Steven Bassler, and I woke up halfway through that game, and my army was already dead. Like I was just weird. And then somehow I went over to play Bart, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was going on, but just everything worked out perfectly well, and I won the game. And I feel like I won it pretty handily, but I couldn't tell you how or why. It didn't make any sense. So Bart needs to get some revenge here. He's
Chris Mr. Magoo through that game.
There you go.
Yeah. Bart's most likely got this, and then hopefully I'll learn how to use my army for the rest of the event.
That's two votes for Chris and one for Bart, and I will say this, that Saturday morning when I woke up, I was missing two lists, and one of them was Chris's, and when I pinged him about it, he was like, yeah, I don't actually have an army to bring. I'm trying to nail down an army, and as soon as I know what army I'm bringing, then I'll send you a list.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine. All right, so now we are going to come to our final table, which, since I currently have an odd number, is going to be Matt Schenker versus the Ringer list. If we find another player between now and Saturday morning, then Matt will be playing them, but as of right now, he's scheduled to play the Ringer. Matt is another one of the Carolina Reapers coming up from the Carolinas, and I'm just personally delighted to see so many folks from the Carolinas coming up. The Mid-Atlantic region, the Carolinas have always seemed kind of like the states that are just sort of kind of on their own, and there's not really any events down there, and there's not a whole lot of people that live close enough together to play. So I'm just really happy to see Carolina players coming out to get involved in the community and hopefully meet some folks and maybe then run some events, and some of us will feel enticed to drive down and play with you guys some more and get the Carolinas a little more engaged in the region. But Matt's playing Night Stalkers. He's got 12 drops and 28 unit strength, so kind of on the high end for unit strength. He's got that Bloodworm Legion with Hammer Measured Force. It seems pretty popular amongst our Night Stalker players. A couple of Phantoms troops, a couple of Butcher Hordes, a couple of Mind Screeches, a Planer, a couple of Fiends Hordes. No Shadow Hulk, no Shakira, which are kind of what differentiates this from the other lists. Yeah. And then over on the Abyssal side, I literally just pulled out like my old second edition Abyssal list because it's what I had and it was painted and it wasn't undead, and I thought having somebody play my undead as the Ringer list would be mean. And I know that this isn't a great Abyssal list anymore, but it's the Ringer list, so it's not supposed to be. It's mostly like a Tortured Souls based Abyssal list with a little bit of shooting, a couple monsters, and Bazuzu. So we will go through real quick and ask you guys what you think about this matchup. I will start with I'll start with Chris since Chris went last time.
Yeah, I like Matt's list pretty good, pretty well. So I feel you don't know who the Ringer is going to be. I like his list, that Anchor with the Legion, and then basically 2 of everything else. Looks like a pretty cool list, and I think it'll do well.
Okay. Anybody else got any thoughts? I mean, it's the Ringer. You don't really have to pick the Ringer. No one has to pick the Ringer. It's expected that whoever plays the Ringer will win.
Yeah, the
Will
only
win.
comment is on the Night Stalker list because you've got the Bloodworm Legion, the Reapers. Where's your vicious Arahara? But yeah,
I think they forgot about that one, Steve. I think it's kind of that's the second list we've mentioned that they don't have the horrors with the vicious Arahara.
Yep.
So.
And
what you're saying about the ringer, I went up against the ringer. I think it was like 4 years ago at Sword of Kings, and he had 4 legions of sharp sticks against my herd army, and it was just like, what are you doing? You're the ringer. I mean, I won, but god damn, it took a hard time. All my thunders was just gone, with my herd list. So
right.
Just because you're the ringer doesn't mean you got to bring an easy list. So
it's not. This is a list that was great, like 4 rules changes ago, but isn't so great now. So that brings us to our last table. So those are the matchups, and those are the lists. Now I'm going to go around and see if anybody has any other predictions they want to make. So first, I'll just go around and ask like favorite memorable lists. Anything that stuck out to you guys, and let's start with Felix. Like, regardless of how you think it might actually perform, like I'm not asking you who you think is going to win or who you think is going to do well. Just like which list jumped out at you as being something that appeals to you personally, either in the choices they made or the construction of it or whatever.
Not really much of any of them. I'm just kind of like, there are no halflings. As the army I'm working on for 2022, 2023, like no halflings. I'm mad about that. But anything with the high drops and high unit strength, I'm kind of about right now because it's kind of where my brain's at in terms of the list building stuff. So any of the Order of the Brother Mark and stuff like that, I'm big fans of that. So. Other than that, nothing really stood out to me as like, aha. So.
All right. Steve.
I'm kind of just looking back because lists that kind of stick out in my mind. I really like Mike Ireland's Ratkin list. It's just I think it's really well built. I think it's going to play a lot of scenarios well. Yeah, that's the one that I'm kind of looking back at. I also really like Cat Royer's list with the salamanders. I think it's a really cool list. So yeah, those are my 2 that really kind of stick out.
Okay, cool. Chris, anything jump out at you that you particularly like?
Well, I was gonna ask when you were asking if memorable, like you talking about memorable, like we have to like it, or memorable, like we're gonna remember it because. Again, yeah, Michelle's list with the 7 regiments, like like Ray said here.
You can interpret this like you interpret players' choice voting, right? Like what's their
whatever fits for you.
I do like her taking the 3 Master Hunters though. So I do it's memorable to me for sure.
All right. Okay, so now let's switch gears and talk about competitively. We're going to go around and ask, who do you guys think is the favorite to win best general? So just straight up battle points. Because obviously I can't ask you, like, who do you think is the best painted army? Because we haven't seen them. So just purely on like battle points, knowing that we're playing blackjack with 2-point bonus objectives. And with the amount of terrain that we have on the table, who do we think is likely to take home best general or best overall, depending on how the scores go? And I'm gonna start with Steve.
Man, it's a good room. There's a lot of good lists. That being said, it's kind of like when you talk about like the NBA MVP, LeBron James always is for the past 20 years has always been in the conversation, no matter what season it is. You talk about the MVP is going to be LeBron James. So making that analogy, I think Alex Chavez's list is very, very good. He's got it's a good meta call. And then you add on the fact that it's, Alex Chavez on top of it. So I think that's going to be my call for best general.
Okay. Nice, safe choice there. Chris.
Yeah, safe too.
You can't go wrong voting for aristocrats. That's my line, and I'm sticking to it. Chris.
Yeah, just to comment on Alex. Like, so Alex, Vanguard is always such a relaxed, like, chill event. And we tend to, like, there's a little bit of heavy drinking that goes on, and that does give Alex an advantage because that man is like immune to hangovers. That's really like his superpower. I mean, he's all right. He's a good player, sure, but
he's
also
a Sunday morning Chavez, and he'd be good to go. That's all he needs. So.
That's right.
I would call for Ray, but especially since he's making his return back to the U.S. After so long. But I remember Ray at Vanguard tends to relax pretty well too, and he is not immune. It's a tough call. I'm just not gonna make a call.
No choice. Okay.
No choice.
Chris abstains.
I do have something for if we're doing Dark Horse though.
We will do that next. Felix, what do you think? Who do you think is coming on top?
So we're talking about for taking it overall or best general?
Best generals, pure straight battle points.
Pure straight battle points. It's kind of going to be mixed toss up between my best general and Dark Horse. I kind of see him taking both. I actually have Ed Fisk because that League of Rortia list, I mean, quadruple hordes of Honor Guard are just absolutely brutal. And if he can get the matchups, he's going to take a lot of things off the table.
And the thing with Ed's list, it matches his play style so well. Like, he's a hyper aggressive player, and that is a hyper aggressive list. And then he came in second place at Pilgrimage with it. It's the same exact one, so it's a good call.
Yeah, he used to have organ guns. He's switching off to cannon so he can just move them up and still shoot at you with warrants.
All right, so now let's talk about Dark Horse. So this is someone that you don't necessarily think is going to win, but you expect them to podium. So that's like top 3 in battle, and it's someone that you kind of don't expect. It's someone that's maybe not one of the usual suspects. Someone that you think is gonna do particularly well at this event and maybe surprise people. Let's start with Felix.
I mean, I guess, does Ed Fisk even count as a dark horse at this point? Because he's placed pretty well at a lot of GTs.
Dark horse a couple times, so it's hard to say anymore.
Yeah, if he got second at Pilgrimage, that was the last Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah,
GT. I would say like a dark horse probably wouldn't have podiumed.
Yeah.
At the last GT.
Come back to me on that one because he was kind of the one I had, so I gotta see. Kind of
that's fair. I'll wrap back around to Chris then.
I was gonna say Bart. I think he's ready with this with his Trident Realm Lagoon army, and probably itching to be playing now since he just got done TOing an event. He's got an easy first round win ahead of him. I know Bart's probably thinking I'm just aiming for some points right now, but I think he's got a pretty good chance. And I think it's his birthday weekend. So,
Steve,
Dark Horse. I've already brought her up, but I'm going to go with Kat Royer. She's gotten a lot of games under, did Pilgrimage and Adepticon at back-to-back weekends, which is superhuman. I'm going to go with Kat.
All right. Felix, any thoughts?
I would say if we want to talk about dark horses in like most likely to arise like a phoenix from the grave after Saturday night, I put Dan Kamek for that one because he will be the drunks. But in terms of like, because Dan's he's podium a couple times, so I kind of in my head take him out of that running because he's, as much as he would like to deny it, he's actually a pretty solid player. Dark horse, maybe Marcelo, just because of that's a lot of unit strength, and I think not everyone has what's needed to take that unit strength off the board in a timely enough manner in terms of games. So I'll go with Marcelo on that.
All right. That's a fair thought. I think I was expecting somebody to throw out Jason Britt. I think he might do really well with Sylvan Kin with Air Elemental support. So we will see how he does. So now let's go to the last thing I'm going to ask you guys, and then we'll wrap up for the evening. And that is, who do we think has the best shot at winning the best club award? So there is now a Jesse Cornwell Cup that we are going to pass around every Mid-Atlantic tournament. Whichever club wins, whichever Mid-Atlantic club wins, will receive that. I also give a best club award away. So just in case, the Blue City Brawlers happen to win best club, they'll get the Vanguard GT Best Club Award. But the best Mid-Atlantic club will get the Cornwell Cup. And so I think that's what I'm asking about. Of the Mid-Atlantic clubs, the Aristocrats, the Mid-Atlantic Irregulars, Seventh Circle, Carolina Reapers, Battle Pilgrims, and I think there's only 2 Spotsylvania area gamers now because the third one dropped. Yeah, so they don't have enough people. And it's going to be overall scores, the top 3 folks in the club total added together overall, counting sports and battle and army appearance. Who do we think? And I'll start with Chris.
Do you get to choose the overall because it's your tournament, or is that something that we're doing for the cup all the time?
I think I'm just doing that for my
deployment. It goes from tournament to tournament.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think Bart did overall.
I think Bart also did overall.
Yeah.
And I usually did overall for my own club award, so I didn't. I just went with the same rules. I think each TO can pick though. If for Mountaineer you want to do battle instead of overall, you can. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I would really like to say that we could take it away from the Cats, but not with me not playing anything. There's the other guys. Those the other guys. Yeah, I'm gonna be a homer and say it's what is our club? Seventh Circle. We're gonna take it back.
Who are we? Yes, yeah, we're gonna win that.
All right, Steve.
I'm also going to be a homer and say Mid-Atlantic Irregulars. Since it's overall, it's not just battle. I mean, we've got Ed for the battle. We've got Jake for appearance, and I don't understand how he has good sportsmanship swords, but he does. And then Joey's good for a 4-on-1 with around 4 or 5 bed shitting. So Mid-Atlantic Irregulars all the way.
All right, and coming down now to Felix for his pick.
And what club is Joey with anymore? I forget. What week is it?
He's still at a regular.
I think it's to the highest bidder at this point. So,
he
accepts sexual favors.
Well, I mean that's it. This is the way. I mean, just let's see. I'm gonna not be a homer because I'm not involved in this because I'm out of the Midwest. I'm just gonna go with the Battle Pilgrims, just as like a dark horse /
There you go.
Club. So
I love it. 3 votes for 3 different clubs who don't currently hold the cup. Great. I love it. All right, guys. So that's going to bring us to the end of our little broadcast here, coming in at an hour and a half. Look at us go.
Wow, right on the
See, this is how this shit is supposed to go, people. Hour and a half and you're done. None of this 3-hour shit going back and forth. Well, but let's talk about blah, blah, blah. Right, 7 hours, right? Because you have to do 2 different.
You have to break it up in 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks so much for giving me your thoughts and your analysis of the lists and the matchups. I will keep track of who wins in the first round, and I will let you guys know. I'll send it to our group chat and maybe post it up. Who got the most right and who failed to get the most right.
Because I won't be tracking this at all.
I've already forgotten
what predictions I've made.
Whoever wins, I'll get their award medal to them at some point, and whoever comes in bottom, I think if I just put this thing in my driveway, in the morning, it will just be gone. It'll find its way magically to you. You'll just go outside and it'll just be sitting on the hood of your car, and you're like, how the fuck did that get there?
Actually, I don't think it will. It'll be like back in your room somehow. Just find its way back. It's like a haunted, haunted miniature
on your pillow, like housekeeping left you a cursed mint or something.
That's right.
Yeah. So this event is coming up this weekend, starting on Friday. I will have like one more video to show you guys later in the week, just walking around talking about how to park and show you guys the layout of the gaming space. Again, there is one more spot open. If anybody out there knows anyone who might be interested in playing, have them let me know. We can squeeze one more person in, so we don't have to have a ringer. The house is nearing a state of readiness. Like the pool is open. I just got a bigger fridge put in the basement for people to put any beverages they want to bring to drink or share. So you won't have to like drag a cooler down to the basement anymore. You can just bring a couple of 6-packs or whatever and just plop them in there, and they'll be nice and cold, and you can go get cold drinks all weekend without having to run back upstairs. And again, the handful of people that haven't sent me their vaccination information yet, please send that via email so we don't have to ask for it when we get here. And if you get your COVID test done on your own within 48 hours of arrival and either send us or bring the test results, we will enter you in a drawing to win a brand new Badger airbrush for taking care of the COVID testing requirement on your own and not having to stand around for half an hour when you get here and wait for us to do the test and get the results back. So once again, thanks to Felix and Steve and Chris for coming and hanging out with me and going over this. I love doing these. It's great to hang out with you guys. Thanks so much for coming.
A lot of fun, always.
Yep, always a great time.
All right, I hope everybody enjoyed watching this, and everybody get excited because Vanguard GT is coming up at the end of the week, and we will see you all there. So, all right, with that, good night, everybody, and we'll see you on Friday night or Saturday morning if you're coming. Take care.
All right, take it easy.